All shit. Loads of it for the gas.
This month's expenses. No need to check them. Only joking.
It's such a tiring commute, you know? So time-consuming.
What? From Hounslow?
Hey, Michael, you heard the news? Betty's stepping down. Looking for a new speaker.
And what can I do you for, oh brightly bedecked young lady of this parish?
I've come to complain about defective streetlights.
Just a few forms for you to fill out?
And no forms. I want to know the name of the person responsible, and I want to know what they're going to do about it.
Do you know? Well, I'm afraid it's not that simple.
What's not simple about giving a citizen the information they want?
Yes, well, miss, I realise it may not exactly be Sex and the City, but
What?
we follow procedures here that have served us well, and one such is that we only accept written complaints.
There you go. I'll be back.
That's what they all say.
So we worked the tea rooms, calling a few favours. More than a few.
Yeah, but don't forget, Michael, Betty's a Labour speaker. I mean, conventionally they'll go for a Tory.
I know, but I've waited a long time for this. We get some senior party men behind us. Make this tribal.
He's deputy speaker now. Sits on all the right backroom committees. He's got a proposer, and the wife's managing his campaign.
I served on that committee with Bob for many years. And he'd tell you, if he was here now, it's always been the reputation of the house.
But the point is, he'll put MP's interests first, every time.
And do we think he's actually up to it?
Your complaint is in the system.
I want to speak to the person responsible.
You can't.
He needs to come out here and face me!
He won't.
Christ. What do I have to do to get any information out of you people?
You could try, please, and thank you.
It's the nitty-gritty of Commons Matters that does it for me. Because, and you can ask anyone, when it comes to upholding the reputation of the House, second to none. So, I can count on you boys to do the right thing, eh?
Hi.
So, he's in there with the whips now.
If he's got their support, there's no stopping him.
Well, how'd it go?
Order. Order. The House has now resolved that Michael J. Martin take the chair of Speaker.
It says much for the House that someone from the poverty of Glasgow can rise to the great office of Speaker. I pray that I shall prove worthy of your confidence and that all of us will maintain the high tradition of this place.
Aren't you going to congratulate me?
Heather Brooke, I congratulate you for being the most determined, mule-headed, bloody-minded person I've ever met. But there's something you have to know.
Oh, my.
You're not the only one who won't take no for an answer. I can't live without you, Heather. Stay with me in this deeply flawed nation.
Okay.
This is your private office, Mr. Speaker. I hope you find it to your satisfaction. I took the liberty of laying out the correct garments in what I hope is your size. Guesswork, I'm afraid, as I've been unable to establish the name of your tailor.
I don't have a tailor.
Well, that would explain it. But, Mr. Speaker, the clothes serve an important function. They set you apart, distinguish you from other members.
Well, I'm not having it.
You misunderstand me. They're a visible expression of your independence, of your impartiality. As Speaker, you must put your previous existence behind you.
I'm not ashamed of who I am. And I didn't go to the type of school where they teach you to dress like little Lord Fauntleroy. But I am the Speaker of the House of Commons. And I'll decide what I'm going to wear.
Very well, sir. I'll notify the staff that you'll be dressing yourself. Will you be purchasing your own trousers?
No. You can find me a tailor.
A tailor?
Aye. The best that money can buy. Order. Order. I have to acquaint the House that royal assent has been authorised for the following bills: Children Leaving Care Act, Countryside and Rights of Ways Act, and Freedom of Information Act.
I found it! Hidden away on page 28. I don't think anyone will find it. This is the thing I've been looking for. This is my chance to really shake things up around here. Really get noticed.
And you know a lot about freedom of information, do you?
Hey, I was a journalist in America, remember? They've always had these kinds of transparency laws over there. That's how regular citizens can get answers. So I've been given the runaround the whole time.
Fine. Just not quite sure where you're going with this.
I'm going to write a book so that people know what they can request under the Freedom of Information Act.
And you can do this when? In the evenings?
Oh, God, no. I'll have to be full-time.
What about your job?
Oh, God, yeah. My glittering career in copywriting. Oh, I'll have to give it up.
Right. So, you want my permission?
No, I want you to buy me a laptop.
Hello, can I help you?
Yeah, I hope so.
Oh, one of our American cousins. You're very welcome. Here's a leaflet. We have a number of guidebooks, or perhaps you'd like to hire some headphones.
No. I'm writing a book with a chapter about Parliament in it, and I want to know the name of the person preparing for the introduction of the Freedom of Information Act.
Freedom whaty? I'm sorry, dear. Nobody seems to know. But I'm sure we'll muddle through when the time comes. Souvenir?
The Speaker! Hats off, strangers!
Told you before, don't worry about it. Just make sure you get a receipt from the driver. Cheerio.
Obviously, this kind of quality comes at a price. But then the Speaker's private quarters must be maintained to the highest standard, as a duty.
To the taxpayer. Aye, aye. That one.
Thank you, Mr. Martin.
Come back here, lassie. I do have a title. Did your education not teach you any manners? It's a question of protocol, but I do think you should address me correctly.
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Aye, aye, where you go?
Is everything all right, Mr. Speaker?
Everything's fine. Andrew, the very man. Now, here's somebody I do want to talk to. Come and talk to me in my private quarters. Now, Andrew, can I interest you in a wee drop of the hard stuff? Oh. I'm required in the chambers shortly, but I wanted to invite you in and let you know how much the members appreciate the fees office and the vital work you all perform there.
Oh, well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We are a small department, perhaps a little understaffed.
I suppose it's time for a new guide to allowances.
Well, no. Yes, a new green book is indeed due.
I mean, don't make any changes on my behalf. If it ain't bust, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cheers.
This new committee is to focus properly on the issue of MPs' pay and allowances.
I know there are a lot of people who think that MPs' pay is not enough for what they do. That's not a matter for a speaker to comment on, but I will say this. As a sworn union man, I feel strongly that members should make full use of all the entitlements that are available to them. And there's absolutely no shame in saying it. I mean, if we don't, it's an excuse for the accounts department to cut the allowances. Isn't that right, Andrew? One of the committee's roles is to endorse any proposed changes to the Green Book.
We've made very few alterations. Any changes are intended to make the whole system easier to manage.
I just wanted to ask, reading from the Green Book, your main home will be a matter of fact.
Quite so. Time spent there, family residence, etc. It will be self-evident in most cases.
But I suppose, facts can change.
Change is a fact, as Ovid testifies.
So, if circumstances were to... you could... your allowances to a different address?
Well, yes.
This legislation will come into force on the 1st of January next year. The Freedom of Information Act means we can finally hold this country's establishment to account. And it's up to each and every one of us to exercise that right. I know I will. Here you go.
Looks like a good read. Had a quick look at your chapter on Parliament. You're serious about holding them to account?
Totally. I'm starting with a request for details of all their staffing. Seems like half of them employ their own family members at our expense.
They're gonna love that.
It's like they don't think freedom of information applies to them. That smug sense of entitlement that exists in so many groups here. Politicians, judges.
Barristers?
Barristers, yeah.
Well, good luck with it. I'm Hugh. Call me when you need me.
And why would I need a barrister?
When you need me.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, sir.
It's under the Freedom of Information Act. It became law a few days ago. I suppose that makes it an official request.
Well, it's an impertinent bloody request is what it is. I mean, what's our staffing? Who is it from? Pressure Group?
She's called Heather Brooke.
You're joking. Is this what we're in for? Every menopausal head case with a grudge poking their nose in.
Well, she's 34.
How do you know that?
I Googled her.
Oh. Can you not get arrested for that?
She's written a book on freedom of information.
Oh, nothing better to do. Well, we refuse it. Point blank.
What grounds?
Privacy.
Aye. I have a duty of care to protect the privacy of all members of Parliament. It's what they elected me for.
Privacy? It's the culture of privacy that I'm trying to dismantle. But this is great.
Is it?
The establishment kicking back. This is what happens to proper journalists. You think they won a Pulitzer by giving in at the first hurdle?
And now she's appealed the decision to the Information Commission.
Who?
So this freedom of information stuff, it actually applies to us as well.
Look, calm down. After some thought on the matter, I've decided that the best course of action is to certify categorically under Section 34 of the Act. This means no disclosure. What? You don't think I could have thought of that on my own, is that it?
No.
I've got this freedom of information thing under control. This is the House of Commons, with centuries of authority behind it. Nothing's going to change. Nothing.
Prejudice, the effective conduct of public affairs. He's slamming the door in my face.
Who signed it?
Speaker.
Oh, the first commoner.
Oh, the ultimate insider. He's so small C conservative, he wouldn't move a dog turd from his own carpet if it had an official crest on it. He sums up everything that's wrong.
Still, that's that. If he's arguing that he's protecting his staff.
You're agreeing with him?
No, I'm just saying I suppose he has a point.
Well, no, you're wrong. He does not have a point. Jesus, what planet are you on? God, stop being so...
Reasonable.
Annoying.
Sorry.
Don't say sorry in that stupid English way. There's something bigger bubbling under here. And now, I have a name to go after. So, Mr. Michael Martin, can I do that's really gonna piss you off?
From the same woman, you say? This Heather Brooke?
Along with a couple of journalists. One from the Evening Standard, called Ben Leitman.
Oh, I know him. He's bothered me and Anne before.
They've written to the Information Commissioners requesting a full breakdown of allowances for 14 MPs.
Hey, but we've already released our office and travel costs.
No, this is an inquiry into additional costs allowance. The expenses incurred for your second homes.
14 MPs, you say? Which ones?
The Prime Minister, the Leader of the Opposition, the Chancellor...
No!
Hey, I'm on this list. So's the wife.
Who is this woman?
She's a campaigner. American.
Can we have her deported?
I really don't...
He's joking. You're joking, right?
She has a British passport. She came to live here after the death of her mother in a car accident. Her parents were from here originally. Liverpool, I believe.
She's a Scouser. Oh, Christ.
Get me the lawyers. If Miss Heather Brooke wants to play on our pitch, she'd best bring her shin pads.
I need to tell Anne about this.
What are you waiting for?
It's only that I just wanted to make you aware that were this to go as far as tribunal and possibly beyond,
Aye?
as someone who's privy to MP's claims, I do feel I ought to warn you.
About what?
That what may appear reasonable within these walls may appear less so to outside parties.
You be careful.
No, I was just trying to alert you.
These are honourable and right honourable members. How dare you stand in my office and question their integrity?
No, I wasn't.
They're above suspicion. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir.
What's all this?
Common submission to the Information Commissioner arguing against my expenses request.
Someone's taking you seriously.
They think they can intimidate me with a wheelbarrow of papers.
Can they?
I'm not afraid of them.
Our team have put forward very strong legal argument countering the request for the details of the 14 MPs.
But I'm keen to reassure members that we remain committed to the principle of MPs' right to privacy.
And not just us. The privacy of our constituents. This freedom of information nonsense could infringe their rights. I really feel very strongly, in fact, I'm putting down a private member's bill.
Oh. That's one way of dealing with it. Order. David McLean to move a private member's bill.
Mr. Speaker, I rise to propose a bill to amend the Freedom of Information Act 2000 to exempt from its provisions the House of Commons.
McLean was the only one to speak in its favour. But 95 of them, lots of government ministers and whips, even a bunch of Scottish MPs who never stay on a Friday afternoon, just happened to be hanging around to force it through. A total stitch-up.
God, I love this country.
This is after he's pulled every trick in the book to get it through its first two readings and then passed to committee he's hand-chosen. I mean, you know, you couldn't make this stuff up.
Right, so then what?
Well, because it's a private member's bill and doesn't have government support,
Yeah, right.
he'll need to find a backbench peer to steer it through the Lords.
And if he does?
Then, well, they've got away with it. Any information about MPs stays secret.
Jesus Christ. What kind of banana republic am I living in here? God, why aren't people storming Parliament about this?
Hey.
I'm Ben.
I can't believe what these jerks are doing. They're trying to write themselves out of their own law.
Is that so?
Yeah, well, I don't see how we stop it. It's out of our hands.
I know what these bastards are trying to hide.
No, but you should see it. I can't be expected to live in a house with an Artex ceiling. So it's okay if I claim for that, then?
Yes, well, I can't understand how anyone with a public profile like mine could function without a trouser press.
No. I mean, it's a simple enough question. Can you clean a moat or not?
Many members, particularly those with influence, are keen to see the bill progress.
And you're looking for a sponsor in the Lords, I take it?
Someone of your standing, versed in the business of government?
That's very kind. But I fear I must decline. And I rather doubt you'll find anybody else.
Why?
You're asking someone to stand up and support a bill granting MPs immunity from transparency. I don't know anyone who actively seeks public obloquy.
I see.
And there's also the fact that, from our viewpoint in the upper house, the sight of you all tying yourselves up in knots is just...
What?
Hugely entertaining.
The Commissioner has decided that it would be appropriate to disclose the allowance totals spent.
Wow, that's great.
Hold on, under the following headings. Mortgage costs, hotel expense, utilities, phone, blah, 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 blah. No breakdown, no receipts. Come on, that's where the real story is. This is crap. It's a total cop-out.
It's a victory. You've taken them on virtually single-handed, and you've made them give ground.
No, I'm not letting them off the hook now.
But sometimes, you know, you just have to accept that's the way things...
No, I don't have to accept anything. I don't have to be like you. You know, it's not enough.
But when's it ever going to be enough? Because this is you just doing what you always do. You're taking something too far.
Yeah, well, I'm taking it to tribunal. You know, there's a principle at stake.
No,
here,
it's
all
not
right?
about principle. This is about Heather taking no prisoners in her quest for glory. You want to keep grandstanding, find another sap to bankroll you.
Can't you see?
No, what I see is someone letting their life be ruled by their hobby.
Hobby? God. You're such a jerk, you know that?
Heather, I love you. But I need to know. Is this how it's always going to be? With you banging your head against a brick wall? You gotta let this go.
I can't.
Please. For me.
No.
We have to take this to tribunal.
Tribunal? Are you sure? But the Commissioner's judgment is effectively a victory for you.
I'm glad you think so.
Well, admittedly, there's an element of compromise.
There you are. No compromise. We still have to publish the figures.
Well, yes, but only under general...
Over my dead body.
Forgive me, but our argument was focused on MPs' right to privacy. How much they spend is presumably a matter of public record.
I'll be the judge of that. We have to bury this woman and her friends. We give them 14, these vultures will stop at nothing. As long as I'm sitting here, members of Parliament will get every ounce of respect they're due.
Derek Conway didn't need to be reminded that it never rains, but it pours. Today, he was expelled from the Commons for 10 days. He's already been expelled from his party and now faces calls to quit his seat immediately. This image of the Conway family PLC has already become a symbol of parliamentary excess. And these pictures of the sons who earned over £80,000 of taxpayers' money when they were students have hardly helped.
The contempt that Conway shows for us, it's unbelievable. The exact information I wanted, and they fought to keep secret. You know, this is why I need the best representation I can get.
If I'm going to do this pro bono, it means you will have to put in all the hard work. I will need chapter and verse on freedom of information law across the globe, fundamental principle, legal precedent. You've rattled their cage. You are looking to effect a change to the whole political culture, and they are not going to take that lying down.
I have to win at this tribunal.
Well, this hearing is going to give us our one chance to take a pop. Maybe even crack the defenses of whoever they put into bat.
Who do you think that'll be?
I don't know. But I'm warning you now, it's going to be a heavy hitter. Completely indoctrinated, unquestioningly loyal to the Whitehall machine, totally versed in the civil service playbook of obfuscation and mendacity. A human breeze block.
Me? The office has to be represented, Andrew. Go on, be a devil, have a French fancy. This Conway business changes everything, very damaging to the reputation of the house. The public reaction means we have to be seen to act. I'm going to make a holding statement about a root and branch expenses review. This is part of a two-prong approach.
What's the other prong?
You are.
No, I really have no experience of being a prong.
Don't underestimate yourself. You're a born prong. You're going. So you might as well get used to the idea. You'll be fine.
I mean, this Brooke woman, I imagine she can be quite intimidating.
You've got all this behind you. You walk in there with the tradition, authority, and integrity of Parliament behind you. Just look her in the eye and let her know we're standing firm.
Birds flying high, you know how I feel. Sun in the sky, you know how I feel. Breeze drifting on by, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me, yeah. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. It's a new life for me. Woo, 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 woo. And I'm feeling good. Fish in the sea, you know how I feel. River running free, you know how I feel. Blossom on the tree, you know how I feel. It's a new dawn, it's a new day, it's a new life for me. And I'm feeling good. Dragonfly out in the sun, you know what I mean, don't you know? Butterflies all having fun, you know what I mean. Sleep in peaceful days.
You put on something. No, I don't hope we
Those are my papers.
Uh-huh.
Well, I was sitting there.
I'm sitting here now. This yours?
It is our submission that the publication of any figures will inevitably lead to further questions about the nature of the expenditure, thus pressurizing MPs to release more information about themselves and their affairs.
And what's so wrong with that?
To say these figures represent an intrusion is wholly fantastical. Why should the public be denied information about their MP's behavior, which could even inform their judgment in voting? This is an issue which goes to the very heart of transparency in public life. And here you are, trying to defend a position where the public has no right to know how much their MPs spend. What can that do for public confidence in members of Parliament?
Well, public confidence is not an overriding concern per se.
Really?
I believe that MPs should have a certain amount of protection like everybody else. If they're answering questions about this all the time, they couldn't do their jobs properly.
You're seriously suggesting that this sort of disclosure would put people off becoming MPs?
Well, yes. Transparency could damage democracy in this context.
Interesting thought. How?
By creating a peephole into the private life of a member.
Let me assure you, Mr. Walker, I have no urge to peep through any holes at any members. Tell us, if you may, about the allowances permitted for food.
Well, the general rule is that there's a limit of £400 a month.
And all claims are backed up by receipts.
Well, we prefer not to be bogged down by thousands of bits of paper from Tesco and Sainsbury's. If someone gives us a receipt, we look at it. If they don't give us a receipt, we don't look at it.
Can you tell us where reference is made to this £400 figure? There being no mention of it in the Green Book.
Or anywhere else.
Well, my understanding is that members are well aware of it. I'm unable to tell you how they are well aware of it, but they are.
All done on a nod and a wink?
I've never winked at a member of Parliament. Not intentionally.
And would you be good enough to explain to us, in assessing claims for furniture or electrical items, how you decide what is acceptable for an MP to spend?
Well, there's the list.
The list?
Yeah, the John Lewis list. You know, never knowingly undersold. We cross-check against that to make sure that a claim for a particular item is reasonable.
Can we see it?
No.
Any reason?
Well, the thing is, if it was made public, the maximum price will allow for an item, well, then that will become the going rate.
So you're saying MPs would take advantage?
Well, yes.
You're saying you don't trust them? I've seen some one-sided judgments in my time, but never a demolition job like that.
A recipe for confusion, inconsistency, and the risk of misuse.
Without doubt, most determined.
Stubborn.
Bloody-minded.
Mule-headed.
Well done, Heather. You got your story.
But they gave leave for appeal.
Oh, I really wouldn't worry about that. Their side more or less admitted they wouldn't go down that road. And they've got 2 weeks to think about it, but after a mauling like that, they'd be mad.
We appeal to the High Court.
Mr. Speaker, I thought we'd agreed. After such a resounding defeat, I strongly advise against an appeal, especially a last-minute one.
Well, we all know
The
what
ruling at the tribunal leaves you very little room. Plus the fact the High Court awards costs as a matter of course. I don't think risking tens of thousands of public money...
Don't question me. There's still time. They want me...
Who?
I'm doing what the responsibility of my office dictates. I have a duty of care here. We can't release these figures now. We need time to get a series of reforms in place so that members can be seen to be doing the right thing.
Why? What are they doing now?
We're fighting this. That's all there is to it.
Then there's one woman who won't be at the High Court. And it's not Heather Brooke.
Not only has the case been put through quickly, but we have 3 senior judges sitting. We are definitely top of the bill.
We're gonna win, aren't we?
Well, they must have something up their sleeve, otherwise they wouldn't be here. That's the thing about this court, any court. You never can tell.
okay? What am I doing here? This is crazy. What was I thinking? I can't beat this system. Oh, God, why didn't you stop me? And who knows what kind of pressure the judges might have been put under. Oh, God, the Old Boys Network is going to steal this from me. Oh, God. Now I know what it's like.
What?
Being British. This is how it feels all the time. Oh, God. It's awful. How do you stand it?
That brings me to my next point, which relates to what happens in other countries and elsewhere in our own country. It is true that fixed terms are far from universal. I do not claim that the fixed term system is the one that everyone else uses, that we are out of line. There is a division of opinion in mature democracies. In France, for example, there are no fixed terms. The president can dissolve the assembly at will. The best known example of a fixed term system is...
Today's judgment is another humiliating defeat for the Speaker. Fighting this hopeless case against the public interest has cost the taxpayers £100,000 of their own money in legal fees. In so doing, Michael Martin has managed to lower even further the reputation of Parliament. I only hope he's pleased with himself.
There's no choice. We have to give them details of the 14 immediately.
Well, we can still redact certain information. That's something.
Make sure they go out to all the press. Heather Brooke will get no exclusive from me.
Well, there must be something else. You know, the European Court of Human Rights, The Hague, anything.
What have you been claiming, Alan?
It's all within the rules.
We'll have to start work on all the remaining MPs.
Take your time. Our reform proposals come up before the House soon.
What good's that going to do?
It's precisely what we need. This way, the public will see us acting rather than dwell upon what we've done. The House owes me this one. We get these reforms through, by the time the rest of the figures come out, all this will be yesterday's news.
Mandelson's charged £3,000 for a new shower, £75 a month on gardening.
Toilet brush from Ming the Merciless.
Barbara Follett, £1,600 on window cleaning.
The story's not in the details. It's in the big picture.
Whoa. Well, you want to see what Mr. and Mrs. Expenses have been up to. They've claimed 125 grand towards a luxury flat when both their constituencies are 10 miles away.
Gotta push harder. Try and keep the story in the limelight. Fight to get the other figures released and expose the rest of them. That's what we gotta do.
Jesus. I had no idea. Damn right you're not going to stop. You're going to nail every last one of them.
Morning. Now, your job is to prepare these documents for public scrutiny. Any information that may be deemed personal is to be redacted or blacked out. Now, this work is highly sensitive, so on no account are discs or copies to be removed. Thank you.
So, it's come to this? Huh?
You talking about the second prong?
Expenses reform as a last-ditch measure sponsored by the Speaker's office. Whoever else gets tarnished by this, it's not going to be me.
A lot of MPs think we're going too far with these reforms. No more furniture, receipts for everything, full audits.
But they have to understand the rules need to change. Can't they see how it'll look to the public if they vote this down?
Michael, the whips want you to withdraw it. The party's not behind you in this.
I can't be seen to withdraw this motion. It's been tabled for today. For God's sake, This is my only chance to save them from themselves. One day, they'll thank me for this.
Much disquiet on the backbenches, and they'll shortly be voting on changes to their expenses. By all accounts, many of them are unhappy about proposals to reduce the amount of help they get with furnishing their...
Don't even think about it.
Political correspondent Joe Coburn has been watching the Commons this afternoon.
A wrecking amendment. A wrecking amendment from a Labour MP.
I did warn you, Michael.
My own people doing this to me.
You know how it works. The whips giveth and the whips taketh away.
You shut your mouth. We all know how you voted. You and the rest of those idiots. Can't you see what's coming? Or are you just too stupid to care?
What's worse, that he billed us for Chitty Chitty Gangbang, or that they didn't even watch it together?
This stuff is being leaked by someone on the inside. These details have to come out into the public domain as part of my fight. Not like this, lost in a chorus of sniggers.
Quite right.
He's not funny. This fucking story belongs to me.
Parliament was supposed to have published these figures in October, but they didn't. Then it was going to be December, but the British public didn't get its Christmas present from the Speaker. And still we don't know when these details will be released. Embarrassing revelations leaked to the press about Cabinet Ministers Jackie Smith and Tony McNulty and their imaginative use of the Second Home Rules have increased further the public's scepticism about Parliament's commitment to honesty and transparency.
You're not going to believe this. She switched her second home twice and bought a big bloody TV each time.
That's nothing. This one charged £2,000 for repairs to his tennis court. Yet, Michael Martin fails to grasp that openness is in the House's best interests. It can only confirm the suspicion that his reluctance has nothing to do with good governance or privacy, and everything to do with covering up hundreds, if not thousands, of dirty little secrets he'd rather we didn't know.
Mr. King! I'm sorry. Hey, how many times do I have to say this? No comment.
Mr. King!
Mr. King!
Tonight at 10, Cabinet Ministers scramble to defend themselves as details of their expenses are leaked.
Page after page of details of
Brace
what was
themselves
paid.
for embarrassing revelations.
Jack Straw claimed a full council tax on his second home. Community Secretary Hazel Blears is said to have made claims for 3 different properties in a single year.
I do not fucking believe it. 5 years of my life and not one lousy mention.
Checkbook journalism, another great British institution.
Unredacted, unedited. The biggest story for a decade.
It's totally unfair. None of this would have come to light if it hadn't been for you.
It pisses me off that they've gone and done it so brilliantly.
More MPs dragged into the net. A stream of information
I have
about
absolutely nothing to apologise for. I've done nothing wrong.
But as far as I know, there is no problem that needs to be dealt with.
racking up £16,800 in claims.
6 senior Tories are under fire for their expenses. Their leader
For spending
says
£7,000 on furnishings just before he moved
He
house.
claimed for repairs made to a leaking pipe under his tennis
Labour
court.
Minister Sir Gerald Kaufman tried to claim more than £8,000 for a flat-screen television.
The Commons Speaker Michael Martin is under pressure to resign after refusing to join that chorus of apologies we heard.
Order. I wish to make a statement to the House, and I wish to say to the men and women of the United Kingdom that we have let you down very badly indeed. We must all accept blame, and to the extent that I have contributed to the situation, I am profoundly sorry. Now, each and every member, including myself, must work hard to regain your trust. As a matter of urgency, and within 48 hours, I am calling the Prime Minister...
Order, Mr. Speaker. A motion of no confidence in you, sir.
This is not a point of order.
When will members be allowed to choose a new Speaker with the moral authority to clean up Westminster and the legitimacy to get this House out of the mire?
That is not a substantive motion.
Should not this House calm itself down and have a period of reflection? And support you as the Speaker is entitled to be supported.
What is at stake is the institution of Parliament and its integrity.
I say this with reluctance, sir, but your early retirement would enhance the reputation of this...
Tonight, there are new allegations against more MPs.
2 televisions and 2 DVDs.
£4.47 for dog food.
And the repairs to the sit-on lawnmower.
I feel that it is important to apologise.
The cost of cleaning the moat at his hall in his correspondence.
Down after claiming for a duck island.
There's a possibility of criminal investigations.
As I stand down from the office, which it has been the greatest privilege of my life to hold, I quote the words of Robert Burns to those he described as the rigidly righteous. Then gently scan your brother man, still gentler sister woman. Though we may go a little wrang, to step aside is human.
The Speaker, hats off strangers.
Well, did you get what you wanted?
Everything I did, all the flack I've taken, God knows, Mick. You know what's really insulting about that? The place where I grew up made the Gorbals look like Centre Parks. And I fought my way out of there. I fought my way into this job. And by God, every minute I've been in it, I fought for yous. And this is the thanks I get. To be stabbed in the back, in the place where I should command absolute respect. You greedy, ungrateful bastards! You wasn't worth it! Any of yous! None of yous! You really think getting rid of me is going to let yous off the hook?
Do you know what it's about? Jealousy. I've got a very, very large house.
Personal decision to send this cheque, which is the amount that would have been paid had it been liable, which it wasn't.
All that I did was to move my family from Surrey to London.
I was incredibly busy during that period.
Well, actually, it was for maintenance, not for gardening, but that's not the point.
I feel that due to an error of judgment, I have let a lot of people down.
The claims wouldn't have been paid out unless the House of Commons authorities were satisfied that they were claims which were valid within the rules.
I've not been at the periphery of the rules. I haven't abused the rules. I've been absolutely at the core of the rules.
As far as I'm concerned, and as of this day, I don't know what the fuss is about.